Hey, we're live.
And we're live.
Ed Lattimore, I always love it when you stop back by, but I'm gonna start this conversation on a bit of a contemptuous note and ask, with all the social media stuff you do, why don't you have your own YouTube channel? Because everybody brings you on theirs. You make for great conversation. You got a lifetime of experience. You travel the world. Why not?
Um, from the short, I guess, overview personality angle, I'm just not interested. I like writing. Got my own website. Great Twitter. I really like writing. It's just not. I'm not like I guess my you know my. I guess my social media guy. I don't know what the quite call him. He manages my website and does a lot of my outreach for get me on different podcasts and stuff lately. He asked me one day, he was like, do you like writing or do you like giving the knowledge? I'm like, well, I mean, giving the knowledge is nice, but I really like sitting and crafting words uh, a lot more. So there's that. I enjoy writing more than I would enjoy getting on and dropping stuff in front of an audience every day. And the other part too is that you know, one of the great advantages of search engine optimization, one of the great ways that has allowed me to really profit from my writing and my position on the internet is every time I'm on someone's show, they link back to my website. And that gives my website so much profit. I mean, so much juice and makes it so high profile. If
Well,
I had my own website, I would lose that. I'd trade that off, and I'm not quite sure I'm interested in what I traded off for, which is a bigger YouTube channel.
well, here's what I would say. I don't think you understand that it's not like if you eat one piece of the pie, the other piece gets smaller. I'll actually do two things to show you real quick. One, this is my website. You know, my website is where I've written, words
Yeah.
upon words upon words. But the thing is, when you have a website, you can write and you can just repost your YouTube videos there.
Oh yeah. I got
Okay.
that part. Yeah. So I guess
And
yeah, that's more work for me, man.
okay, I
um.
understand that. Then
eh,
then then let me combat your second objection. It's like when you do go live, I'm not telling you you've got to be like me or anybody else. You can go on and talk about what you want, or you can do something that people thought I was really smart for doing, but in fact, I was just getting around a whole lot of extra planning other people do. I 99.9% of the time, I just go live and I talk about something that's happening relevant to what the people that I talk to a lot talk about and what my friends talk about. That way, I don't have to do a whole lot of extra work and editing and all that. I just go on and we have great conversation. What do you
now
want to do?
now that's where yeah now see that now that's I think where our approach is different. I would rather I could publish a lot more on my website, like a whole lot more. I think I barely have 50 articles, maybe, but that's 50 articles that has me with a domain authority of 41. Last I checked, 41 and bringing in 100,000 viewers per month and generates passively without me pushing almost 3 grand a month. That is not an accident. So if I was going to step on and do it, I understand the quality is needed to compete and go higher. If you look at something interesting, if you want to see this in the YouTube space, watch what Donovan Sharp has done with his show. He is by leaps and bounds grown it, but it's grown in proportion to the amount of preparation, equipment, technology, and really just quality he's adapted and pushed. And I don't know if he wanted to because now I think he's at 40,000 subscribers, which is nuts considering he started the year banned and now up and running. So I like no matter what I would do and what I would put out, I'd have to do it at a certain level of quality. Like for things off the rip, even my newsletters aren't really off the rip. I mean, I those are a lot more, I guess, extemporaneous than
Well, two things.
yeah.
Uh, Hi, Scott. Hope you're having a good time. Are you here in Brazil too? I'm not quite sure. Everybody tuned in for a different reason. And it feels like you're accusing what I do of being low quality.
No, I'm accusing it of being fast and quality can't come together. It's not that
Well,
you're
you just
it's
said
not that
it's not quality. You just said the same thing.
it is not as a high quality as you could produce. That's about. I'm not saying it's low quality, absolutely. What I'm saying is that when you just go live off the rip, there is no preparation, so you are winging it, right? Which means that as good as it is, it's not as good as it could be, and that is almost certainly a trade. uh, almost certainly
Are you laughing at what John said?
Yeah, that's what I'm laughing at. Because I've thought that I would never say that, but that's funny as hell. In fact, see if he gets the reference, or maybe you do, a black Dr. Robotnik is what I went with. But no, I don't mean that your stuff absolutely is low quality, but I mean is relative to what you could produce and the effect you could have. You are not optimal. I 100% believe that.
Well, this is what I want to show everybody as well. Before we get too far away from the mark, there are certain protections that people use after they've gotten burned. So I'm going to show you two quick things. One, I want to show everybody this. This is my keyboard condom. Okay. Now you might say, well, why? Why do you have a keyboard condom on all the time, even if
Did you
you're not
spill something on that? Yeah, I was gonna say.
Because of people like Ed Lattimore. I want everybody to take 5 minutes and go to his Twitter page. Follow him. If you don't like it, unfollow him later. But he has stuff going down that's so funny that if you're drinking while you're reading his tweets, you'll spit on your keyboard.
Yeah, you know what's funny, man? I don't even. Sometimes I'm trying to be funny. Other times I'm trying to make a point. But you know what? Overall, I just have a lot of fun. I try to have a lot of fun, man. Because at the end of the day, we get to choose. By the way, on a completely random note, this just occurred to me. We've been we were told one thing about the internet speed, and let me tell you, we are pleasantly disappointed. Like pleasantly. This is great internet. By the way, here with the person we're renting from.
Well, tell them where you are. I don't think they know where you are.
I'm in Parade, Lisboa, Lisbon, or Parade, Lisboa, Portugal. About 25 minutes outside of Lisbon, in Portugal. So yeah, really enjoying life here, man. It's nothing crazy. It's exactly what I right where I wanted to be. It's always been a dream of mine to live abroad, to live near the beach. I mean, literally, I get up every morning, go right under the Avenida Marginal, and go do sprints on the beach, and then get up, and then I gotta walk. It's blowing my mind. I think this is naturally leading into the topic, maybe how much freaking walking I do here, man. Like in America, we do not move at all. Our entire infrastructure is built on cars and sitting down places. And here, because of where the supermarket is, there are two. There's Pingo Doce and Continente, and Pingo Doce does not. There's no way to drive a car out there. There's no to park it. I think there's a parking lot by Continente, but they do something interesting. They make you pay for your bags, which I was like, oh, that's smart.
They do the same thing.
That's a great way to reduce,
Well, because it makes people want to carry their permanent plastic shopping bags, the big ones,
which I think is great. But me bringing that up is you just can't bring a lot of stuff. I'm eating less, moving more, getting so much more sunshine. This is something that I'm really happy that I really decided to do, because I could have just as easily I was talking to my girl about this before we did it. Before we moved, last week. I haven't even been here a week. I was like, there's no reason to do this. I don't have a job over here. Most of your family's in America. There's no reason to be here. Great time to come, man. You'll miss, if you're in America, you'll miss the freaking cold. But
here's the thing: when we get offline, I want to connect you two. I hope that you two can meet in real time. I can vouch for both of you. Because she'll be in January. I don't know whether or not you two are going to be in the same area there, but I do want you two to connect, or at the very least for her to have the phone number of somebody who is there and maybe knows a little bit more than she does there.
Awesome. I'm all for it, man. Because that's the thing, is this internet thing is crazy. I'm meeting a guy tomorrow who I connected with on Twitter over a year ago. Connecting with another guy that later this week who I met on IG, who wants to talk about fighting and everything. It's just it's cool. But I love being here, man, because the States we don't realize. No, everyone here is not everyone. But I'm kind of just a lot of people speak English here, and if they don't speak English, they usually point to someone who does. It's really cool. Now I'm like we found a regular coffee shop. I've been going in and getting a lot of practice to try and work my way up because they really appreciate when you try and are patient with you on
Mm.
board. And also when you leave the main city, when you leave Lisbon, like we were just in Central for the day. English was not so prominent. Like I had to figure out the bus stop to go on, to go. Yeah.
The language
Yeah,
is Portuguese.
what did she call it? I didn't even see it.
She
Portugal.
said you have to be fluent in Portugal, and the language is
Oh,
Portuguese. Hey, Miss V. So here's where we're going with this. And by the way, Scott actually said something relevant. He said, looking for info, Brazil in the vetting process. And I hope that talking about some of this will help you vet Brazil in a place whether or not you want to or not, but I want you to have some more information on it. And I, I sent a message earlier. Didn't you get it? You didn't get the message? Here's the thing. I want to show everybody some numbers that I constantly have people, you can relate to this, Ed. You go someplace, you do something, and people look for reasons why they can't do it even though they want to.
right.
So they'll say, why? I want to do this. And I'll say, well, you have all the required tools. You have a skill or a trade or an education. Why can't you? Oh, and the final leg they try to stand on is traveling is just too expensive. It's just too expensive to live someplace.
Oh man,
And
you know
one
what's
of the
crazy?
go ahead.
I was gonna say people think I'm rich, man. I've been accused of this on from two different points. I'm like, I'm a man, far from it, man. I mean, I guess I'm rich in time. I got a lot of that, but I'm not a lot of sorry the BJ, but not like you don't have to be balling. But no, you're right. Continue.
So, so where I want to go with this, I want to show some numbers. I want to run some numbers, and I actually like for you because you just left the United States.
Yeah,
What city were you in? You were in Pittsburgh, right?
yeah, Pittsburgh, PA.
Okay. So check this out, and I want to use you. Not that Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, is the main city of attraction or anything like that, but I want to use your thoughts on Pittsburgh. I was born in Niagara Falls, which is even less appetizing.
Yeah, I was gonna say Pittsburgh is like a D grade landlocked city, so like if, Niagara, yeah, man, it's not hard to be worse, but
It is. Niagara Falls, New York. I'll have to do a video on that and talk about, Niagara Falls, New York and the difficulty that's gone through. But here's an article I wrote a while back, right? I wrote it back in 2018, like way back then. And it was called the Expense Report. Now, keep in mind, these prices were for the value of $1 back then. It's even better now. It's even better now. So what I'll actually show you in BRL.
I remember this. You sent me this post. Looking at it now, it's got some interesting. I've got some interesting. Now I've got some experience because I kind of know what I have to what I'm paying on one deal, and then the boss is included, so I'm not really. But I could probably extrapolate the real. Wow.
So if we just say, excuse me, $1 is worth 420 Brazilian real. Okay. So what I want everybody to do is when you look at these numbers, the numbers are actually better now than when I wrote the article. So you can believe that. Okay. So check this out. For people who are curious and they want to make sure, you can't possibly mean that. My apartment is a simple apartment, 322 square feet. By the way, the United States is the only place that uses feet. So whenever you look at measurements, you have to convert.
Yeah. Only one that uses feet, pounds.
Nobody else in the world uses it. The only people who use. So when you leave the United States, you're constantly taking your calculator out, but that's neither here nor there. But a 322 square foot apartment, it's not a big apartment, but it's big enough for one or even two people. And my rent is less than $360 a month. Let that sink in. I live 15 minutes away from the central street in Sao Paulo, which is Avenida Paulista. I can jump in an Uber on a regular day and get there in 15 minutes, 10 minutes if it's not busy outside. That's how close to central downtown I am. And the second thing, and I always put this second because people ask about it, One of the interesting things about leaving the United States and living in places like Brazil, and I don't know if it's the same where you are, is the affordability of help.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we got a maid coming this Friday.
Well, my maid will come in, and let's say I have her come in every other Saturday. She will clean my apartment so well that, I mean, I'm a clean person, but I mean, she'll come in because it's her job. 3-4 hours later, I can come into my apartment and it looks like a different place. The floor is shining. My friends say I overpay her because I don't make her cook or iron any dress shirts.
Wow.
They get mad at me because they said I'm throwing off the curve. They said I'm actually messing it up for everybody else by paying that much money. Now, we can have a different conversation about maid culture in Brazil because it's a direct legacy of slavery. And slavery reduced the cost of human labor all over the country of Brazil. Most maids are black women. I want to be clear about that. So we can talk about that later on a different show, but I give her an honest day's wage for an honest day's work.
Yeah.
So that's my thing. And I know people that are angry because they're like, well, how many kids do you have? I said, well, I don't have any children. You pay her that much money? Yeah, because it's still way cheaper than what I would have to. I mean, I always talk about leveraging time, and I show people all the time that the time she cleans my apartment, I can be on my laptop making money. They don't want to listen, though.
Yeah, exactly.
They don't want to listen. My cell phone
But
bill. Go ahead.
These numbers are really great because the thing I do have direct experience with so far, the fruit and vegetables and the meat, at $50 a man, and I think that is actually a bit much. Is that per month?
For my cell phone?
Not the fruit and vegetables and the meat.
You got to remember, you're a professional boxer who has to keep a certain ratio of meat to vegetables. I am an amateur Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu player and an amateur weightlifter. So I'm probably on the whole consuming 400 more calories a day than I should if I was competitive, the way you are. I mean, if I was competitive, I'd be back down to like 1,200 calories a day. I'm probably consuming 1,600.
Okay, yeah. Well, and you know what's funny? Because I'm not so competitive. I'm not actually not competing at all anymore. But I was, and then I was thinking about coming back fighting maybe in 2020, but right now I'm not competing. And the way I've been eating reflects that. And part of that eating, I eat way less, right? And I think that's why I looked at that. I was like, man, that's a lot of money for fruit and vegetables and meat. Especially here, looking at the price of stuff here. I mean, we made a soup last night. Actually, no, we made it the night before. We made a caldo verde soup.
Green soup, yeah.
And that fucking soup was delicious. It had meat, it had greens, and carrot. Man, it was $3 to make freaking a soup that fed two people for
nice
for 2 days. Man,
yeah.
€3. So like, and when I say fed for 3 days, I'm not talking about just dinner. We had that soup for lunch and dinner on 2 days.
Nice.
So,
speaking of the maid stuff, before I forget, this is the article, How I Buy Grunt Work to Make Money. It talks about when you do buy someone else's labor, you make that labor profitable by doing something that's going to earn you more money. So if anybody wants to check that out.
Basic business sense, man. People lack it. People don't understand. Like when I need some research done, that's not creative work, I pay someone to do that research because I'm like, I do not want to sit there and look up the citations to prove my ideas. Now, if I'm wrong, that's different. But that's grunt work. Like anyone can do it. They can't write the way I can. They can't put the idea together the way I can. They can't. They don't have the platform that I have. But when it comes time to making sure the words and everything are right, yeah, I'll pay someone else to do it. It's very, very. I wish people thought like that. And you know what that is? That's where you don't think like that, I think, until either you get someone, you're lucky enough to get someone to teach you that, or you come up around it, or you reach a point where you just have too much on your plate and you have to outsource. And that's how I figured a lot of that stuff out anyway.
But this is my market, by the way.
Oh, nice, man. We got a smaller, like, dude, you know what blows my mind? How they can, because my mind is still heavily influenced by just what I saw in the States and grew up. I mean, that's most of my life. But their little store here, all they sell are vegetables, and I'm like, how are you open? Like, how are you staying business with these prices? And are you selling vegetables? It's not like I had lines, but it's good stuff.
If anybody wants to add me on Instagram, you can check these out. This is my market. I did a little video about what it's like at a day at the market. And if, by the way, a day at the market is a great way to learn a language because you have to figure out how to talk about prices.
Yep, and you got to be able to describe stuff too. I mean, if you don't know what you want, you know, I had a weird because I spent so much time because my Spanish is is strong enough. I mean, I'm not, you know, you can dump me into any Spanish speaking country, I'll be fine. Certainly after 6 hours, when my after my brain adjusts. But as a result, you know, I you get they call it a discount on learning Portuguese. Like the rule system is identical, and a lot of the words are too. And then some of them aren't. Like I'm sitting here, right? Like what the hell is a frorango, right? Uh and I'm like, I see a chicken, but that's not the word for chicken. But it is, right? And then I was pointing to these cookies, and I just kept saying, you know, because I knew they were lemon cookies, and so I was like, citron, citron, and she was like, you want five of them? I was like, oh shit, and then my girl comes and goes, limon. I was like, that's stupid. Like the Spanish, you know, call it citron, and they decided to call it lemon, and it's flip for lime or something like that. Uh,
Yeah.
but but yeah, the point though is that you learn real quick how to communicate certain ideas.
There's a fruit called, speaking of, you got to learn how to say it. It's called achamoya. I had no idea what it was. This girl just fed it to me. You put it in the refrigerator, get it cold, and you get a lemon with it. So when you cut that fruit open, you squeeze the lemon on top and eat it. I had no idea what it was. I spent months trying to learn how to describe this fruit, and I was like, it looks like an egg with scales, like a lizard. And they looked at me like I was completely retarded because I sounded crazy.
No kidding. That looks awesome.
Oh, it is. It is. And I tell people all the time, you know, I eat a lot, but the way I keep my weight semi-managed is by what I eat. Like, I don't eat sugar, cake, stuff like that. I'll have a cookie every now and then from down the road. I'll get a coffee with one of
Yeah.
the fresh baked cookies they make there. But here's the thing. They say, well, how much fruit do you eat? I don't know. There's no such thing as too much fruit. And I'll tell you why there's no such thing as too much fruit. Fruit, if it's actual fruit, has a chemical inside that will trigger your body pooping if you eat too much. Nature provides a fail-safe mechanism to stop you from eating too much fruit. I might buy for breakfast, I might buy 4 bananas and eat them all on the way in to go see one of my clients. I might buy 3 oranges and eat them at lunch with a piece of chicken. But you never have to monitor how much fruit you eat because your body, no one has ever gotten a phone call from the hospital that said, hey man, you need to come down here because your buddy is sick. What happened? We don't know how long he's going to hold on. What happened? Well, you know, all that fruit he was eating, it finally caught up with his ass. Did that ever happen? Of course not.
No, that's funny as hell. But nah, that's a good point. Yeah, you can't get fat on fruit. You can't get your body won't let you.
And by the way, my meat bill is obscene. People are like, that's a lot of meat. Spend 150 real on meat.
$40 on meat. Let me think about that. Yeah, you know, if that's per month, I don't think that's a lot, but I like meat, you know. I think that is, you know what that is? That is probably a very, very American thing. Uh, that is my guess because the meat here is priced low enough to where I can see $40 sounding like a lot, but then I think about how much I would eat every day, right? Yeah, $40, no big deal.
Well, here, because we're Americans, we don't realize, like, there's a phrase that I always talk about with my friends. As soon as you leave the United States, you get 10 pounds off your body for free.
Yeah. You know, funny. I said on social media yesterday. I was like, you know, I'm just amazed by how much freaking walking I do, and then because of that, and then the way how small the servings are combined with it, and then it's just different like the ingredients I think are different. I know there's different sanctions against certain things that we use in the United States. Like there's a different, smaller amount of high fructose corn syrup allowed, for example, and stuff. But yeah, just moving on. Yeah, you do 100% correct. No cake.
Well, let me tell you something. Our friend Miss Charlotte there, she has a thing about cake. She texted me a picture of her eating some cake. And it wasn't some kind of a sexy, obscene picture. It was just like, this is some awesome cake. And I didn't know what to say to that. Like, you know, because normally somebody says, I'm going to text you a picture with some cake. I'm thinking, oh, this is going to be interesting. And it was just some cake.
Just blew your mind, man. So just some cake. Like,
yeah. I mean, it was just, that was one of those. But going down to the the gas bill. The gas bill.
Okay, so this is interesting because I know what part of the world you're in, so that makes perfect sense. And here is funny. So there's no gas heat in this home whatsoever. Like gas is just not a utility. We have 2 fireplaces and 3 electric heaters, and apparently that's a very Portuguese thing. To like homes are just not centrally heated. Okay.
No.
So we don't deal with the gas at all. I'm very curious to see what electricity comes out to. But we don't pay it, so I don't know. But I'm sure it will be a lot. The thing we do pay though, your transportation. Another thing that we Americans outside of New York City don't appreciate, and I guess just New York City, Chicago, and DC are like, and those are big metropolises that you pay another cost to get that transportation benefit of. The transportation here is fantastic. Like, I mean, the city's walkable, and then you get to a metro, and then there's a bus everywhere. Like,
yeah,
and it's so affordable. And okay, and now granted, you know, how can they make it so affordable? Well, if you become a tax resident here, you find out real quick. The difference is, you know, they seem to use their tax dollars reasonably well compared to the U.S.
Like California, places where you get nothing for your tax money.
Exactly, man.
I got California cousins, and they are just angry all the time.
LA is a goddamn cesspool, but not only is it a cesspool, it's one that you can't easily move around in. I used to live in LA, and talk about if you don't live near one of the 4 lines, moving on a bus is crazy. You know, you can't. It is huge compared to like I'm thinking of the biggest non-American city I've been to. I guess that'd be Paris. Yeah. So and moving, and it never felt that big. You know, you just walk to a metro stop or get a bus. Now there's Uber, and then on top of that, you know, they don't fuck around outside the U.S. Taxi drivers are, you know, going to war with Uber, and and that's great for the consumer because the prices get driven down. Freaking Uber here is €1-2, man, like it's nuts. But yeah, the transportation is getting around, and you don't need a car. I mean, people have them, but right, because the whole place is set up to be walkable, right? Pingo Dos on every different corner. Every metro station seems to have a Pingo Dos, which is their smaller or grocery store, seems to have one of those things. So people just have a place to go get food. There's always a place to go get these chickens. Cafes every corner. I mean, it's just it's so funny because like before I'm, you know, this is I still consider myself a visitor, a tourist, I guess, because I haven't been here any longer than I would have been if I was just visiting it. So like, you know, after a week or so, I'll be like, oh, okay, I'm kind of settled in. But one of the things that you see when you go other places, you realize how freaking sick the United States is with a lot of stuff. I mean, we are just backwards. And one of the reasons
I got to push back on that. It's not that we're backwards. I think just in the United States, we have so many choices that other people don't, and some of those choices can be bad ones. Well, we have so many options that the bad options are still on the table. We get a freedom, and I hate going stereotype on you. We get a lot of freedom that other countries don't. And part of that freedom is we can fuck up badly with our food, our diet, the way we plan things.
That that's true, but one of the reasons why we can fuck up badly, we can do that because this is an interesting topic we're kind of diving into. So why do these? It's like we've had a great natural experiment to see what works better. A purely, because I think the United States is fairly not. I mean, there's no one that's completely pure on either end. But United States leans more heavily on capitalism, and I think a lot of other places have a more socialist setup. They care more, or rather, their government takes better care of their citizens and responds more to the demand.
America's a cutthroat nation.
Right. That's pretty much the best way to put it. And what happens is when you have a cutthroat nation, yeah, the floor is higher, but the ceiling is lower. Or I guess the ceiling is higher, but the floor is lower. Is a better way
Yes.
to put it. You
Yes.
can go
Yeah.
higher, but man, we truly. I think it's no coincidence after just seeing how much I walked, really settle in, and not trying to rush everywhere and do stuff. But that part of my life has kind of settled in. Just seeing how much I got to move and how much smaller things are when I sit down in places to eat. It's no coincidence that our country's so fat. No
Well,
one.
get this. One of my buddies, I got a buddy of mine. We sat down one day and had lunch, and we end up hanging out 2 or 3 times a week, catching up. He's lived here in Brazil for many, many years. He's a Jamaican guy. And he said, "Well, now that we're friends, I think I should explain something to you that you didn't understand the first time we sat down. When the waiter gave us our food and he gave us 2 forks and 2 knives on your plate, he said, do you understand that at most restaurants, when you order something, it's a 2-portion serving?" I said, "It is." He said, "Yeah." So they were surprised. Like, they looked at you like you were the asshole for saying, "Why are you giving him forks to my plate?"
Right.
Oh, that was funny. But get this. Miss V said, "I live in Texas. I couldn't imagine walking everywhere. My girls went to 2 different schools last year, and that was an hour drive every morning." In Sao Paulo, here's the thing. I have gotten lazy sometimes because in the morning I'll take an Uber pool to see one of my clients. But the cost of everything, including Uber, you get that. And I have the privilege of living downtown. So if I want to just hop on a city bus in the morning, I'm never more than 30 minutes away from the business district where I deal with my clients. And it's a very different experience. Now, I do have friends that live on the outskirts that have to take these long train rides because the train system in Sao Paulo, Brazil, is not as it should be for what I think is the 12th largest city in the world. It's enormous. It's enormous.
Wow. So Sao Paulo's huge and it's only 12th largest. That's insane. I've been to Mexico City, which when I went was the biggest city in the world, and that was a nightmare in my mind. That metro system, I still remember it. But wow. I think Sao Paulo is mega expensive, but I only are expensive. I think, man, have other sources of income and other currencies. Keep part of it.
Yeah. Fair
Yeah,
enough.
I guess how is Sao Paulo compared to I guess okay, so compared to U.S., which I think is a very expensive place to live. Just relative to other places, especially if you're in any of the big three, New York City, DC, or San Fran, or really LA, San Fran. And not telling, by the way, that 2 of the more expensive cities are in California, and one isn't even in the sunshine. Like okay, well, one can argue if you live in LA, you should pay more sunshine tax, whatever. San Fran is effing miserable. Like,
Well, they have such a housing crisis there. Bridgepoint, you're welcome to come up and join us if you want to, as somebody who understands Sao Paulo in a way that a lot of people don't. But here's the thing. California has Los Angeles, California, San Francisco are 3 cities where the income level is so high, it fucks up the median income for the entire state.
right. There are people who, yeah, right. Which,
You have individuals who earn more than most cities. So it screws up the tax brackets and everything else. So if you're a regular person like my family is out there, you're getting ground under the boot of oppressive taxes and a government that can't react quickly to enough things. And you're constantly living under threat of a city that's too big combined with 2 of the greatest natural disasters the earth has ever faced. earthquakes and fires. It
Fire.
doesn't get worse than that. You're literally living in a place that is potentially hell.
Yeah, you know what? I never thought of that, man. Earthquakes and fires. Yeah.
You know, and that's the thing. It's one of those. So here's the other thing I was going to say to you, because Raining Woman, who's an awesome, awesome friend to have, she also tells people what I do, because I do ghostwriting, resume writing. I help people bring books into university level English. Ed can testify to some of that.
Yeah,
but
great editor, man.
I always show people this, because I tell them I'm not a YouTuber. I don't have a contract agreement. Maybe I will one day, but today is not that day. And I show people what I do for a living here. And I tell everyone they're invited to add me on LinkedIn. I'm the same person everywhere. I don't have a ghost name or anything like that. But skip over my resume. As a matter of fact, if you don't read the resume part, I want to give you people with great reason to still contact me if I can do anything to help you professionally. I tell people to skip straight to the bottom and look at the references. You see, the references and the recommendations are people who work with me professionally that can tell you who I am and what I am professionally. That's what brings me new clients. You know, and that's how I'm able to do what I do and bring everybody this awesome stuff about traveling the world. So
that's amazing. I actually did not know that was a feature on LinkedIn.
Oh yeah. Are you on LinkedIn? We were complimenting your internet a second ago, and now you kind of drop frame. So that's what by going back to the cost list, and again, there are people right now who are just clutching their pearls at how affordable it can be. And I tell people all the time, don't commit to living in Brazil. Commit to coming with enough money to live for 4 months, which shouldn't be hard to do. You come in with, let's call it, just to be on the safe side, $5,000. I don't care how long it takes you to save it. 3 or 4 months, you could live on $5,000 and live well and not be under pressure. The electricity, there you go, 24. The internet Wi-Fi, $25 a month. You can see my Wi-Fi connection is better than yours.
To be fair, you picked yours. We didn't pick ours. We're gonna have to though. But just to be fair, no. But yeah, I find, you know, I've always had this plan in my mind, right? To do this thing, and there's always the naysayers, because naysayers, that's just, if they can't see how a reality that contradicts the rules that their reality is built on could exist. So when you present something that is outside the realm of their possibilities, they strike back. But one thing I will say is this, you know, this was not a blonde move or anything. This was very much, you know, I've been to a few places, and this made a lot of sense for a lot of reasons, personal reasons. Because once again, like I said to my girl, there was no urgent reason to do this. I could still be just at home chilling, without firing my brain, without seeing like, oh, how great, you know, the world can be. I could just be sitting at home chilling, you know, to the next vacation, whatever. But I didn't want to do that. And one of the things that people have to realize is that there's two ways. I wrote about this in my latest newsletter. Outside of saving, right? I'll give saving. It's like you save up what you need, and you come, because there's no guarantee, you know, you get a job in the economy or one that can sustain you, whatever. But there's two ways to do this, to move abroad. It's, you need either passive income or you need location independent income. Ideally you get both of them.
Yeah.
But you know, one is all you need to kind of move forward and make something like this happen, to go see a part of the world that you're interested in. And it doesn't take that long to build that up. Certainly to a point of, we're talking like $1,000 a month. That you know, that is, I don't think that's very difficult. And I've seen enough ways, you know, to get to with the way the internet is set up. And if you really get out there and you want to freelance or reach out to people,
or then when I tell people, you know, I transferred my ability to be a financial professional into a totally different career, not because those careers are connected. I just took the skills for building a client list, approaching businesses, and transferred it to another business. But what I find, it's not the technical skill nor the money. People are afraid.
Yeah, very, very much so. Because and you know, it's funny too. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I don't know if you went through this, but it was probably the week, it was a few days before, and everything was really get wrapping up in my apartment and putting stuff away. Is I started to like doubt myself and be like, okay, what in the world am I doing? Why am I doing this? What if this doesn't work out the way I want it to work out? And then those are fears like real fears that I have like an answer like it's impossible for this to not work out like literally nothing changed about my living situation. In fact, if anything changed due to what we were talking about, a lot of things got cheaper so I effectively have more money or at least the same. So
Yeah, you gave yourself a raise.
yeah, so what's going to go wrong? Who knows? But I had to entertain them. But I was dealing with those fears, and I'm a person that can actually deal with them and manage them and know they're not real. And even if they were real, I have ways around them. So imagine what the average person goes through when they think about it.
It's a terrible thing to know that there are people who are able to but afraid to, because I have friends who talk to me all the time who year after year say they want to do it, and then they actually keep going and saying, I don't like where I am, this job is going nowhere, blah 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 blah. And I say, well, listen, in the past year, have you developed anything that can just, if you can get somebody, some situation, I don't care what it is, to, like you say, give you $1,000 a month, you can live in 80% of the world.
Yeah, I have a great post called "The Four Levels of Freedom," where I talk about once you crack level zero, which is becoming somewhat location independent or passive, then but the first level is you can live in most places in the world. And you ain't gonna be a ballin', but you're not gonna have to live in like the slums. And that is that but that step, that 0 to 1, that's the hardest part to get a person to go, okay, let me get this together. And a lot of people, what I realized too, because this is the cool thing about doing this way. My brain is on fire every day. I'm picking up a new. I mean, I'm absorbing Portuguese, just not just my practice. I'm starting a class this week, and then on top of everything I see and trying to use it, I have to be super vigilant, alert, and learn. I'm 34. How many 34-year-olds do such drastic life change to shake themselves out, short of having a kid? Outside of having a kid, it doesn't happen. So we start to fear that change so much that we avoid it. And those are the kind of changes that help us. I really think stay young, move around, keep our minds plastic, and just make life interesting, man. Like, because no matter what happens, this is one of the more interesting things that I've done, and I'm really happy I've done it.
And a lot of people, what they don't understand is that you need to figure out where you really want to be. Because again, where you were born isn't for everybody.
Right, right.
You know, you got to figure out that at some point, maybe you can find a place that's not where you are.
And be happy.
And be happy about it. I got a buddy of mine. I lived in China for a couple of years, so you folks know. I got a buddy of mine who moved to a city in the south. It's an industrial city that's known for just industry. It's not pretty. It's not fun. It's not fancy. He came to Brazil, met his wife. They moved to China. And China's a grind. It really can be. It's fun, but it's a grind. He loves it. He says, I'm probably never going to leave. I just love this place. And what am I going to say to him? What if I decide I'm never going to leave Brazil? But he and I can say, I've lived in 15 countries across 5 continents. I can say, this is where I want to be. And that's,
and I wish we what it reminds me of? It's like, when you look at most people and their friends in their 30s, most people haven't gone out to make a new friend ever. Instead, what they have are the people that were around them when they grew up and they went to college with. They haven't actually gone out, developed a new interest, and got new friends that way. I think about this a lot. I think about like a good chunk of my friends, I made when I started fighting. I made when I went back to school. I made when I started reaching out and teaching. Uh, these are things that like most people after a certain age, they don't step it up and do. They just, it's like if they're not around to drink with me at the bar I work with, it's really just them becoming a product of their environment instead of making their environment a product of themselves.
I'll tell you something that is kind of heartbreaking that happened to me. I was a fairly young man, but I had done some traveling, and you can tell me if you can relate. Niagara Falls, New York is a small town, and I say town not in a derogatory way, but it has actually been downgraded to a town. Not enough people live there. That wasn't supposed to be funny.
You know what? It's funny because I remember when I learned the designation of town, municipality. You can even go as small as a village, and but like, yeah, that's interesting. But continue, continue.
No, I want you to get this out of your system.
All right, I'm good. I'm good. I'm good.
You sure?
Nah, but I think I am.
Okay. There were people that I'd known my entire childhood, and the unfortunate reality is when you've left home and you've met people and go back, you don't realize that the people who are still at home know the same people that you all did from childhood to high school. I was in a situation where people that I had known during my youth, I couldn't remember their name. Because I've met, without exaggeration, thousands of new people in my life. They've met a few dozen new people in their life. And it was
It's like, it's like when you meet up with that friend and they are that person that you knew from your youth. And rather than discussing what you guys are doing now and talking about life and having an adult conversation, they immediately start referencing things about your childhood. And you're like, man, I don't even remember that. I don't even know. Like, how are we going to relate and build on this, right? And the answer is you can't. This person is quite, for all intents and purposes, trapped in a time capsule. Like
right.
they're stuck, and time is moving on. You were doing things, you were developing, you were growing. And you go back and like, what are we going to talk about, man? I got nothing for you.
And that's the thing. Hold on. I'm gonna show you something to give you some context. Can you read that?
Once Niagara Falls populated, below 50,000, yeah.
Now, yeah.
That's interesting. I didn't know that, huh?
Yeah.
I didn't know about the HUD thing.
Yeah. So that means it would fall into a category of places that are too small for even a government agency to think is worth giving benefits to. It's basically kind of like being conveniently, you know what it is, honestly? It's like a child with a terminal illness, and instead of just giving the kid a hug, they just leave it in the crib until it dies.
Point made. Very clear with that analogy. Yeah.
Now look at that.
Sucks. Yeah, it fell below. Hey, people keep leaving. Yeah, I didn't. And Niagara Falls is like right on the side of the other Niagara Falls in Canada. There's like 88,000 people in that town. But I only know that from I was just there for my birthday, and it looked like it was a fun thing that you tried to set me. Yeah, you're gonna be back in Niagara. Meet to be able to. I'll be on the Canada side. Remember that? But yeah, that's where I picked that setup, but that's mind blowing to me because that's not a small amount of people, but that's just big enough to where when it's not any bigger, you incur problems. Like a 50, like a 49,000 people. Okay, what is that? Okay, in comparison, that's a decent sized neighborhood in like a big city.
But in a big city, that neighborhood bleeds into other neighborhoods.
Yeah.
So there's not this incestuous thought and reasoning. And it also leads to what's called brain drain. And for people who don't know what brain drain is, it's when you have a place that due to circumstance leads to the best and brightest leaving. So Niagara Falls, even when I was growing up, I was never encouraged to live in Niagara Falls. It was get up, get educated, so you can leave. So if people in a city are A class, B class, C class, D class, but all the A and B level children are encouraged to leave, who's left to run the city?
When this is why, people who don't, this is why a lot of places they try to get absorbed, I should say, by the larger areas nearby. But if I remember right, is Niagara Falls, is Buffalo? Is that the closest city? Not even though.
Hour drive away. Niagara Falls is it's not. It would have to have grown substantially to be absorbed.
Yeah, and so and it won't be. So now it's just going to be one of those towns that like many in the mid Atlantic, I guess, to kind of fall by way. You know what made me think? What I thought of when you showed me that.
What?
I don't know if you care about American football at all, but Randy Moss, they do a 30 for 30 for him, and he's from a place called Rand, West Virginia, which is so small it doesn't even show up on the map. And I remember looking at that going, man, how can a place? Because I still got like some ignorant perspectives, yeah, but I try to like shine light on them and learn. And one of those is like, how can a place be so small and poor? Like, in my mind, poverty to that extreme, especially poverty that affects Black people, is largely an inner city thing, and cities are big.
Black rural poverty.
Yeah, I never encountered it, never seen it, and the closest I seen was watching that documentary, and I was like, wow, that's crazy. That like there's a real like set, like especially below the Mason-Dixon line, really is where a lot of these towns where it's like 10,000, not even, and it's just ignorance. Like Gary, Indiana is a perfect example of that kind of thing.
Well, here's the other problem. It's like, well, for people who don't know, the Mason-Dixon line is a horizontal line across the United States that separates the North from the South, which goes back to the Civil War. Every state that had legal slavery is so far behind in terms of academics and finance that it's like you're living in two different countries. Because at the end of the Civil War, the Northern armies wanted a very clear, no, you can no longer have slaves. No, there will not be a drawdown. You don't get to keep stuff since you wanted to make people slaves. And the southern part of the United States, they literally never recovered. Like it's one country, but the separation between your life in the north, like I was born in the northernmost part of the continental United States. So my level of education by definition was better than some of my cousins who were born same year in the south of the United States.
And that persists even to this day when you look at the education and a lot of the health things too, but those things are kind of related in Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, not so much because of the Atlanta's influence, but Mississippi, Alabama, West Virginia, these places are just like, wow, when you look at a lot of things, who benefits or who avoids that, places that have got the big city influence. DC, DC is DC, but Virginia, Maryland, which was the dividing line, the demarcation line for the thing. The Carolinas to a lesser extent, but that's because there really ain't nobody there. South Carolina is bad though. I mean, in terms of that raw ignorance for Blacks or anybody really, but. Hey, as a person.
Hey, Phil.
What's up?
Hey, how you doing, brother? Hey, look at this, Miss V. Quick question: where are you located? Because you said you homeschooled. Where are you located? But, yeah, that whole northern United States, southern United States, and coming from a city that's that small.
I have a question. Should I keep the StreamYard page on or the live page on?
Click
there's a delay. I guess I'm going to keep that on because there's a big ass delay. Okay.
Off the YouTube page.
Yeah, I just did that. I figured that out because of the delay. Okay. Hey guys, what's up?
Why do I hear myself?
How are you, Ed? How are you, YusefWateef?
I'm great, man.
Nice to see you guys.
So tell everybody where you are and all that other good stuff.
I'm here in São Paulo. I've been here 10 years. Okay. I was born in Brazil, grew up in the US, went there when I was 7. Got here when I was 28, and I live a little bit out in the outskirts of São Paulo in a neighborhood called Butantã. I heard you guys talking about city sizes, and Butantã I think has about 300,000 people just inside the neighborhood. Yeah,
it's huge, man.
That's the neighborhood.
Yeah, that's a neighborhood. I researched that when a friend of mine moved to Dublin, and he was, trying to figure his life out there. And I was just trying to compare, how big our place is here compared to there. And we have more people than Dublin. So,
Wow.
yeah, the point you were making about sizes of places, it's incredible. That's a smaller neighborhood. I mean, we have a couple neighborhoods here in São Paulo that have over 1 million people. Santo
Yeah,
Amaro, for example. Yeah.
Neighborhoods.
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 Yeah.
Wow.
No, São Paulo, I believe, if you count the metropolitan area, it's 20 million. I mean, in the city, it's 12, I think.
Uh-oh.
Actual São Paulo is 12. But counting all the, neighboring cities and the whole metropolitan region, I think it's close to 20 million. It's a huge city.
That's insane to me, man. Everybody.
It is. It is. And it takes you, I don't know how Wateef felt when he first came here. Well, you lived in China, which is really big too. I mean,
Yeah.
but for me, when I first came here, it took me about a month to just kind of get it that it's that big. You're just like, wow, you're not sure what to do with so much to do. But then you get used to it.
12.3 million people live in this city.
In the city, in the state, 45.54 million. Oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
yeah. 12 is city, but if you go by like because there's a few cities that surround São Paulo, and everybody that kind of lives there just works here.
That's like 45% of the population of Brazil.
Yeah,
It's huge.
yeah. It's
I
very,
didn't
very
even realize, because I don't know that part of the world, that
Yeah.
Rio is so much smaller.
Oh yeah, no, Rio is tiny, and most people that go to Rio just end up in the Zona Sul. So it feels like Rio is just that. Zona Sul is the Copacabana, Ipanema, the Sugarloaf Mountain area that everybody knows from movies and music and stuff. So
Yeah.
Rio feels even smaller because of that, because everybody just wants to go to Zona Sul, the south side. But São Paulo is just like urban sprawl gone like haywire. It just never ends. You can take about 4 hours on a bus to cross the city, if the traffic's bad. It's a huge thing.
That is crazy, man.
Well, we were going to go back to the list because what I was doing was, Phil, I was sharing with a lot of people the cost of living, because a lot of my friends that want to come to Brazil, they really don't believe me when I tell them what my expenses are. We're at the bottom. We can go back to later as a recap. But my gym fees, for the gym down the road where I go lift weights, that's 70 real a month.
Yeah, that's how much I pay for gym. It's not expensive.
It's a basic iron gym. You go in with your thumb. My transportation, we went over that. But here's another one. This relates directly to the maid service thing. My laundry, I spent about
That's a lot, man. Woo!
What?
Now, is that dry cleaning or what?
Yeah, 200.
Phil, do me a favor. You're not, because you're giving us an echo. Do you have earphones?
I don't, but I can hear you guys perfectly. Why is my voice?
No, what I'm saying is I hear us through you, so when you're not talking, mute.
Oh.
Yeah, because your room is bouncing the sound.
I do not have earphones. Let me see
Just look at the thing. Just click the mute button while you're not talking.
I can do that. That's easier to do.
That way, yeah. So this goes back to the laundry thing. Are you asking me?
I can't hear you guys.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
mute my mic. Yeah.
50 for laundry a month. Is that dry cleaning or what?
Yeah, I take my clothes in a bag down to the lady a block away who has a dry cleaning thing in a giant building and another dry cleaning location address. I drop them off, and generally 36 hours later, they come back folded after having been washed and dried, folded, stacked in a laundry bag, and I have to tell them not to put any of this stupid scent inside, because they like to spray after they dry your clothes. They like to spray it with some kind of weird floral scent I don't like. And yeah, that's what it's one of those, could I wash my own clothes? Sure. But the amount of time it would take me, I mean, and this is the thing. How much clothes does a family or a person with no kids generate?
That's a great point. It's not. Yeah. Okay. So you're probably realistically. Do you do laundry? Well, how often do you do laundry? Is it just one big lump, like every 2 weeks, or
Every
one?
2 weeks, no, just once a week, drop them off.
Okay. Okay. I got you. Okay. I could see that. Yeah. That's 12.5 a week, factor and everything. Yeah. Okay. Now, the other thing that blows my mind, because I'm actually looking for this here, and then I'm gonna have to close it out because I'm on a completely different time zone. I'm tired from trekking around Central today. But your movies are $40. Is that a lot or a little? Like, how much a movie ticket like there? Or
Well, no. That's how much you can spend in a month if you buy a ticket. I think every Friday, because I have, for example, my bank card gives me 50% off. If you're a part of any bank, any school, anything, they look for an excuse to give you 50% off the movies. Okay. And unlike the uncivilized savages we are in the United States, I can buy my movie ticket online and pick my seats.
we
So
we have that now. That's
you
awesome.
do?
Yeah, it's great. We got that now. We got caught up finally, but apparently that was a thing in most of the
The
world
rest of the world.
before we got it.
But the whole with that, I get 50% off. So that you're looking at the price of 4 movie tickets.
Okay, yeah, it's about right. About right.
Because remember, theaters don't make money off the movies; they make money off the
I'm
snacks you want to buy, which is
Yeah,
what I eat.
I'm the same with the movies. I get half off. Although I got a little bit upset the last couple times I went to the movies. They got a little bit more expensive, man. I was paying 20 reais. Like the regular price was 40 reais for a movie. I think I went to see Dark Fate, the Terminator movie, which, by the way, don't believe the critics. It's a good movie. Real fun movie, the last Terminator one that came out. So I got a little bit upset with some of these prices. They've been a little bit higher recently. Can I just say something on transportation real quick? Because I
Go
see,
ahead.
where are you moving? Because I did a little, just a quick rundown, and I think actually I spent a little bit less than you per month. I spent close to 2,300 reais, but I put like bare minimum stuff. But I'm paying a little bit more on transport, but I take a bus and a metro almost every day. So I'm spending close to 12 reais a day on transport. So I'm come closer to 300 and some for transportation. And again, that goes into how big the city is. The key component, if you're moving to Sao Paulo, is try to get a job close to where you live. I mean, it's nice to say it's not always possible to do. So I got a job last year. I finally kind of totally ingrained myself in Brazilian society, and I actually have here they have workbooks. So when you go to work, they have this little green book that they sign and say that you are working. So I got here they say trabalho de carteirinha, like an actual official, not under the table money type of job, but it's on the other side of the city. So the company pays for transport, but it's still a cost that comes out of my salary. So I mean, they say they
that's
pay.
some bullshit.
Yeah, I always thought that was funny because they always say, "Oh, we pay transport, we pay food, we pay this," but they take that money out of your bulk salary. Like you just see at the end of the month all the things that they take out. So I spent about 360 on transport, and on food, I think I pay a little bit more. There was a time when I used to have more time to cook at home. So obviously I spent less, but I eat, although it's not super expensive. You can eat at these little per kilos, maybe spend 12 reais, between 12 and 15
Wait a minute.
reais.
I've eaten with you. There's no way you're spending less on food than I am, unless you're eating out every single meal and you're just never eating at home.
No, that's what I'm saying. I spend more. Did I say less? No, I definitely spend more
Yeah,
than
like
you are.
that's the thing. Because if you go and don't like, I can eat at home, but here's the
Yeah.
thing: when you say food, the other thing I separated. If you look at the list, I separated snacks from
Food.
food because I want to be honest. When I go out with my friends, sometimes we'll buy a bowl of fries and split it, or a bowl of frango passadinho, which is a stereotypical fried
Chicken.
chicken you put on the table.
Yeah.
And
Little chicken, yeah.
I'm learning, man.
Or
No, I mean food can be rough. I mean the other was it just 2 days ago I went to the supermarket just to buy some meat and I was like, man, it'd be cheaper for me to just eat at a per kilo than buy just a slab of meat. And actually today when I was having lunch, I saw on the news that the price of meat has gone up. So it goes up and down here. One thing, I mean, I agree with most of this list. I think even when Wati first wrote this article, I made the same comment that I made on the YouTube page. The thing to consider with it is just, are you earning just in reais or do you have other salary coming in? If you're thinking in dollars, especially now with how high the dollar is, yes, Brazil is super, 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 super cheap. I mean, you can get by on very little. If you're earning just in reais like I am, I have no, I'm not receiving in any currency other than reais. Then it can get real tight. I mean, it's considered. I think, I don't know. Maybe Watif can look that up. What São Paulo ranks as far as most expensive cities in the world. It's not a cheap city at all, and you have to be kind of smart about where you live, what you do, how much you pay for rent, and things like that. In order to kind of survive. I put Watif's 3,000, and because mine came to about, I came up to about 2,300 a month on this cool little it's a calculator that I found here. It's on a Brazilian site about, you put in your monthly salary and see how much you make compared to other Brazilians and other people in your state. 3,000 reais says that I earn more than 84% of the people in my state. And I have about 8% of what a federal judge earns. But it's just to show you like the disparity between the rich and the poor in Sao Paulo is so great. If I put my actual salary, I think I did this once, and I think I'm close to being a one percenter in Sao Paulo, which is weird to think about. So yes.
No, what I was going to say is that is something that we have to think about. And you said you earn completely in reais right now. Why don't you come work for me? My clients are international. I make most of my money in Bitcoin, dollars, and euro.
Yes, no, I know, and that's all I'm saying is that needs to be an asterisk, because there are people that come here. They come here for work. They either their job transfer, they just want to try out, like, let me live Brazil style, and they just want to make money down here. Just something to consider. Some people don't consider that because they may see, oh, I'm only spending that much. They're thinking in dollars, but I did that when I first came here. That was 10 years ago. And when I saw a salary that somebody offered me, I was like, well, that's actually quite a lot per hour, but I'm thinking in dollars and not reais. And then I was like, oh, wait, 20 reais an hour is actually not that much money. So that's just a little asterisk. Like the rest, yeah, I mean, the what your list is great. My list, I even have spent a little bit less. It's just something to consider.
I'm going to show you guys something. By the way, what is that website you were talking about? Put that in type that in the comments or something, Phil, because I want to see that website. But in the meantime, because I know Ed's on a timetable, I want to show everybody the website. I don't know if anyone knows this website. It's called Numbeo, and it gives cost of living, and you can compare cities, but it also shows you average price.
Yeah, I was on there
no
too.
Kidding. It's called
I was on there too. Yeah.
What city are you in right now?
Me, I'm in Lisbon. Basically, I mean, I guess Parade, if you want to be like, if they have it, Parade is where I'm at, but Lisbon is.
Now look at this. Consumer prices in Sao Paulo are 14.6% lower. Consumer prices 26.5% lower. Rent prices almost half as low. Restaurant prices 15. Groceries 19. Purchasing power 30% lower. But here's the thing. Look at this. That's in euros. Actually, let me do this. I'm going to see, can I change it to, I'm going to change it to USD so that we can just have a common denominator here, and it will show us, look at that. A meal in a cheap restaurant, Sao Paulo 7, Lisbon 9. Meal for 2 people at a mid-range, 3-course, 32 to 38. Every possible metric, except it looks like imported beer is more expensive because I guess Brazil, imports, I don't know, I don't drink, so. But look at that.
Now that's where it gets. So is Brazil or Lisbon is Lisbon or Sao Paulo on the left or right? Who's on the left? So Lisbon's on. Now, when it gets to food, though, let's go down. Food seems to be cheaper. Right?
Now,
It's at the
this is
top.
when we talk about
Huh.
being a weightlifter, a bodybuilder, or a boxer like you. Look at that. Look at that price.
Oh, that's interesting.
Talking about fruit, vegetables, every possible metric. If you want to be healthier, you can just eat a bunch of. I can go to the fair and buy a sack of food for like $20 US and have more than I'm going to eat for that week.
Yeah, the feta is wonderful. You can go there with 10 reais in your pocket, 15, and come out with food for the week. Really good. Now you just have to wake up early. Well, actually, no, don't wake up early because you get better deals if you go a little later.
No, don't listen to Phil. Now listen, I'm gonna tell y'all people where you're wrong. Don't
Yeah.
listen to Phil, because if you don't wake up early and you get there at like 12 p.m. or 1 p.m., you're going to get all the fruits and vegetables that everybody done picked over, and everybody's grandmother and mom have already stole all the good ones. So you're going to get those leftover tomatoes and the bananas and that somebody's fingerprint on the side. Go
he
early.
like, nah, man.
No, I disagree completely. Like I mean, it's not gonna be in your face. Like like if you want easy pickings, yes, go early. But if you're willing to search a little bit more, take some things off the top, yeah, you're gonna get the best deals, and the food's it's still gonna be fresh stuff.
All
It's
right,
only been
guys.
there for an extra 2
I'm gonna
hours.
check out of this one though. But yeah, this has been a great topic, man. I hope to have something to add more in depth in a few months for this and all. But yeah, man, it's always a good time. Thanks for having me, Wyatt.
Is he thinking of? Are you,
All right,
Ed?
brother,
Are you
I'll talk
thinking
to
of
you soon.
coming
Hey, you
too?
too, man. Oh nah, man, I'm in Lisbon, man. I just moved here a week ago. Not even.
Okay.
All right, man. I see you. Peace.
See, it was good meeting you.
You too.
All
Cool.
right, what's up? What's going on? Man, I'm so happy
Well,
finally because I always see your live stuff and I'm either on a bus going somewhere or asleep, which I was about 10 minutes ago before I
okay,
came
well,
on.
that's it. I'm going to
Yeah.
go on pretty often, but I want to share this with everybody. I'm going to be going on a more regular schedule plus. See this? 2 p.m. Mondays Eastern is 4 p.m. Sao Paulo, Brazil. 8 p.m. Thursdays Eastern is 10 p.m. Sao Paulo, Brazil. And that's what I'm going to be going on. Now, I'm going to do a lot of other stuff, but these are my definite times. So if you can schedule into that, I'd really love it if you come.
Cool.
The other thing I'm going to say is for everybody, please don't forget to click the subscribe and the bell button, because that's how I get to meet other interesting people. This page has grown so much more than I ever thought. I'm so happy about it, and I appreciate everybody that stops in. I appreciate everybody that watches. But this is something that has grown, and I've been able to really bring a lot of quality folks and help a lot of people. And I really enjoy it. So make sure you subscribe, and I tell everybody to share this somewhere. I tell share it on your Facebook, or share it on your Instagram or your Twitter. And I tell people, share it on Tinder. Put on Tinder, hey, if we can't have a conversation this deep after we have sex, maybe we shouldn't. Have something to talk about afterwards, because Tinder is going to get you a lot of clicks. Do you have a page yet, Phil?
Yeah, the Bridge Point on Facebook and on YouTube. And I go on a lot less frequently than Wateef, and I usually talk more about movies, TV shows. I got a buddy of mine. We're setting up for a big ass Star Trek ranking, which should be fun. It's gonna come out just short of the premiere of Star Trek Picard, which those nerds in the room would be really excited about. And we're having another one ranking the Terminator movies. So we do just a lot of stuff like that, not deep, hardcore social issues. But if you can go on that page, just type in the Bridge Point on. There you go. There's me right there.
Look.
What I'm watching, ranking Rambo. Oh, that was fun. Ranking the Rambo movies. Game of Thrones was fun. We would do some live broadcasts right after the last and troublesome season of Game of Thrones, Star Trek Discovery. We watch a little bit of everything. I'm more of a sci-fi, fantasy, well, not fantasy, sci-fi fan. So there's a little bit more of that, but we try to review a little bit of everything. Actually,
Gotcha.
do you like, I see you got the Star Wars. Okay, so here's an invitation because I finally got a chance to be on your channel.
Go ahead.
So if you want to do a ranking the Star Wars, just in time for the last, only the original, like the core trilogy, not all the extra stuff, So episodes 1 through 8, and then include 9. You are more than welcome, sir. That would be a whole lot of fun.
Yeah, why not? I mean, I would have to go back and refresh some of it, but definitely.
Well, not just you. We'd have to somehow trudge through the episodes 1, 2, and 3, but you can get there. So yeah, if you want to do that, that'll be fun. I'm definitely gonna try to get that together just as a commemoration of finally, because Lucas intended to have 9. That was his original plan. So 9 is here. So let's see how it all holds up. Episodes 1 through 9. I'm excited to see that when it comes out.
Well, having said that, I'm glad we were able to bring some quality info and look forward to chatting with you. Just make sure you remind me again early about when we're going to go live, all right?
Remind you, or
Hey, I lost you for a minute. I was going to say, make sure you ring me early about when we go live again, though, okay? So I can go on yours. Can you hear me?
cool, I can hear you. Yeah, I keep forgetting to unmute, and I'll get myself a pair of earbuds for next time around. I'm like, earbuds just disappeared. They're like socks with me. So I'll get another pair at some point.
All right. You have a good night, buddy.
You too, brother. Have a good
Bye.
one. See you. Bye. How do I turn this off?
Thanks, everybody.